In this installment, we're going to be going over Monday Night Football Showdown slate on DraftKings between the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for your Monday Night Football Showdown slate on DraftKings between the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a highly anticipated match, and we're going to deep dive into this. But before I do, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about the Patreon if you want more DFS, betting, and fantasy football advice. All those links will be provided down below. The first thing we're going to start out with will be the injury report for this game between the Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals. Looking at the Buffalo Bills injury report, everything looks clean and clear. We have veteran rest for Stefon Diggs. That's obviously understandable. This is a Buffalo Bills team that's trying to get and lock in that number 1 seed. So this is kind of a must-win situation, but they have a very tough opponent going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. So clear on the Buffalo Bills side. Maybe Jordan Poyer might be a little bit questionable. We'll see what happens. And then Mitch Morse, we'll see. He was full participant in practice, so he should be fine as well. Now, for the Bengals side of the ball, pretty clean and clear here as well. The only person that we're waiting for is Lyle Collins. All right, he did not practice Thursday and Friday. So wait for news closer to kickoff time. If he's going to be out, that's going to be a beneficiary to that D-line of the Buffalo Bills. All right, let's get into the captains. All right, for the captains, this is jam-packed, all right? We have two solid teams defensively, all right? Buffalo Bills are top tier. Cincinnati Bengals are right behind them, not too far behind as well, all right? The strengths are the offenses as well. We're talking about dynamic wide receivers on both sides of the ball. Stefon Diggs, Gabe Davis, nice tandem there. Cincinnati has a beautiful trio as well. So let's start off at the top. Josh Allen is going to be someone we're going to have to consider in each and every one of our lineups, all right? This is one of the top tier quarterbacks in the league, especially for DFS and especially for fantasy football here. So there's no reason to fade him. He's going to get you around 20 plus fantasy points each and every game. So I have no problem going towards Josh Allen. He has the passing ability and the rushing upside as well. He's going to see a ton of touches in that red zone, and in goal-to-goal situations, Josh Allen is not afraid to take advantage of those situations as well. So big plus here for Josh Allen, even in this game here, because we expect a lot of points between Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. So I think lineups with both of these guys is going to have to be essential, and you're going to have to figure out which is going to be the receiver that these guys are going to target. All right, so Joe Burrow is the next guy we're going to talk about in the captain spot, and he has been solid in this stretch run here. 3 out of the last 5 games, well over 25 fantasy points. That's going to be a positive to see. Last year, don't forget the Bengals to close out the season beat the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a similar situation where they're at home versus another top tier team here in the Buffalo Bills that they want to put their foot over their throats here. So Joe Burrow, solid game, solid spot for him going up against these Buffalo Bills. The Bills have been giving up a lot of yards passing wise and to the wide receivers. That's a little bit of the Achilles heel. Buffalo Bills has trended a little bit downward as we go on to the end of this season. So I do love Joe Burrow, and we're going to get to the connections that he's going to have. And that first connection will be Jamar Chase here at 10,600. Have no problem getting to him. Look at the targets in his last 5 games: 12, 13, 15, 8, and 11. So this is a dude getting double-digit targets, nearly double-digit receptions, and icing on the cake is him getting in the end zone. Jamar Chase is going to have to be a staple in our lineups as well. It's looking like we're going to have to be very creative at who the value will be, and we'll get to that section very soon. Next guy we're going to talk about is Stefon Diggs, all right? He's coming off 3 bad performances. What do you expect Stefon Diggs to do in this game going up against the Cincinnati Bengals? I expect him to bounce back. We need the performance like he did against New England, Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay, those type of performances, Stephon Diggs is surely capable of getting you over 20 fantasy points. Have no problem going towards him, despite the fact they have been struggling to connect the past 3 games. All right. T. Higgins is the number 2 option on the wide receiver grouping here for the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's been solid as well. With a lot of attention to Jamar Chase, T. Higgins flies under the radar. 9 targets in Week 16, 8 targets in Week 15. Both games he's had touchdowns in both of those. So it's very solid to see that T. Higgins is stepping up and being a very good Robin to the Batman of Jamar Chase. So very good sign to see there. Next on the list, let's get into these running backs before we get to the other wide receivers as captains. T. Higgins does classify in that range as well. Now, the running backs, Joe Mixon, the Buffalo Bills. Let's look at fantasy points allowed to that running back position here. And the Buffalo Bills have been giving up some yardage. Okay, so let's just double check that right here. And it's in the other number. 16th overall, 12th in the red zone, 93 yards a game rushing, 4.6 yards a carry. That's going to bode well for Joe Mixon, all right? If they can get him going and they have this nice 1-2 punch between him and Joe Burrow, things can get really cooking. We're seeing upside here rushing-wise for Joe Mixon and in the receiving game. The past 2 games, 15 targets, 12 receptions for Joe Mixon. He just hasn't gone off to a crazy game. He's just been very in the middle because he's been not efficient rushing, but the benefit is he's getting you there with the receiving. So you can consider Joe Mixon as an option here. All these guys that I'm talking about, you're going to have to figure out the right puzzle pieces, okay? Because all these guys are going to be able to put up double-digit fantasy points. The question is, are you going to have the right ones so you can fit them all under the price structure that they're going to give? All right, so Joe Mixon is a solid player here. This one here, Gabe Davis, can be a super sleeper, all right? We've been waiting for Gabe Davis to explode since, week 10. So it's been a struggle for Gabe Davis. Yes, he's gotten a touchdown, but he hasn't had the performance where he has over 100 yards and a touchdown. Gabe Davis has just been very mediocre in this stretch run here. So he could be someone that can surprise in lineup builds, because he's going to be a little bit lesser on because he hasn't really broken out for such a long time. So Gabe Davis is going to be considered as well. And that's going to be all for our captains. Let's move on to the flex ops. We're going to finish off with the flex ops, and I'm going to start off with the guy who I think in this backfield that is the number 1 guy. All right, and that's going to be James Cook, their rookie running back from Georgia here. He's going to be the guy that I'm going to lean towards. Salary saver here. A lot of people just going to go to Devin Singletary. Yes, he is the veteran in this offense, but James Cook is slowly emerging each and every game. Last week against the Chicago Bears, who has a very, very poor rush defense, he was able to pop off 11 for 99 and a touchdown. Did chip in for a catch and for 9 yards as well. 17 fantasy points for James Cook. All right, we've seen more production out of him other than James Singletary here, Devin Singletary. So Singletary was able to pop off finally a good game from Devin Singletary. 23 fantasy points from him. He had a 100-yard rushing game. He was finally efficient rushing that ball, but they're seeing a nice split right down the middle. So if they're splitting right down the middle, give me the more explosive younger back here in James Cook. That's who we're going to start off here with at the flex ops positions. All right, let's continue to go down low here. The next guy, don't forget about him. He's going to be someone that is just super consistent. That's going to get you double-digit fantasy points, has some upside to really go off, and that's Tyler Boyd here for the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, like I said, he flies under the radar. Jamar Chase on the other side. Higgins, who you got through the middle. Tyler Boyd can come through with some very good production here going up against these Buffalo Bills. 14.5 against Tampa Bay. We saw big games from him against Atlanta, 32 fantasy points, 23 against the Jets, and a double-digit fantasy point performance against New Orleans and Pittsburgh Steelers. So don't forget about him. If you have just enough salary around that $5,000 range, you need to fill in someone that's going to be productive. That's going to be Tyler Boyd. He's seeing a price drop because obviously it's so top heavy and that he hasn't done, he hasn't really gone off for a very, very long time in this last stretch run. All right. Next guy we're going to talk about is Dawson Knox. He is turning up a little bit, finishing this season strongly like he did the whole entire season before. So Dawson Knox, the past 3 weeks, 7, 8, and 5 targets, 3 touchdowns in 3 straight games for Dawson Knox. Let's keep this trend going. Let's attack that as well. Against the Cincinnati Bengals. Everything is on the board in this game where we have 2 high-octane offenses, all right? Throw the defenses away, and we're going to go with guys that are going to be very, very productive. So I advise you to have multiple lineups, mix and match these guys in here. We're going to find some gems as we continue to go down low. Maybe we can find some gems here in the kicker. So Tyler Bass is going to be on the board, and Evan McPherson. Both of these guys are essential to the offense. Obviously, we're talking about teams that can move the football. If they struggle to get to convert in that red zone area, these kickers are going to come out and have a lot of opportunities to kick field goals. Both of these guys are near 10-point fantasy point production per game anyway. So in that $4,000 range, you need someone that's going to get you something close to 10. Tyler Bass and McPherson are very efficient and are very good kickers. All right, so I would consider both of them too. Let's clear it out. Let's see if we can find some more gems down low. Past the kickers, we're not playing any defenses here. I want to stay away from that. I think this is a high-scoring affair in Cincinnati. All right, let's go to the tight end for the Cincinnati Bengals. That is Hayden Hurst. He's had a lot of nice and up and down games here. 11.7 against Tennessee. We saw 10.8 against Atlanta, his former team. 17 fantasy points against Baltimore. 11 against Miami. So you see Hayden Hurst has some upside here going up against the Buffalo Bills. I have no problem going towards him if you want to save some salary at below 5,000. All right. So Hayden Hurst is on the list. Now, between McKenzie and Beasley, let's see if Beasley has been a little more productive. No, Beasley is finally back, but McKenzie was thought to get usurped with Beasley being fully back, but they're really just splitting slot work, all right? McKenzie was doing a little bit better around that Thanksgiving, November range, but now has fallen off. That's why they brought in Cole Beasley. If you want to take a shot on one of these two guys, I would lean more towards the veteran here. Josh Allen trusts Cole Beasley way more, and this is the reason why they brought him back, because McKenzie had a tendency of dropping the football. All right, so any other guys down here, down low? Nyheim Hines has some upside. He'll have a catch or two in this game. If he's able to get in the end zone, then he can definitely pay off his salary at $1,200. If we continue to go even further down low, Chris Evans is the backup. No. Where's Samaje Perine? Where is Samaje? Samaje Perine here is the next guy we can talk about that could have some upside. That's going to split carries just a little bit, get in the mix with Joe Mixon. So this is if you want to fade the chalk here. You already paid up for the wide receivers. You want to get a chunk of something in this offense. Samaje Perine has some huge games, obviously, when Joe Mixon was out, but he does have some upside in that receiving game. 3 for 4 for 19 against New England, 6 for 7 for 49 against KC, 4 for 35 against Tennessee. So he's very good in third down situations. Samaje Perine is someone that I will not shy away from as well. If you're looking for some value down low, I think that's all that we can talk about if we're going this far down. Shakir has lost snaps. Khalil Shakir has lost snaps as of late as well, especially with you got congestion with Beasley and McKenzie in that wide receiver core. So that's the cheapest I would go around that Cole Beasley range. Hunter Hurst and Nyheim Hines. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. Wait, before I close out, let's lock in the 3 main guys for our lineup builds. It's going to be tough, but I definitely want to lock in both quarterbacks. All right. I want to have the thrower on each side of the ball if this game's going to go 30 plus points, which I do think so that it could. So Josh Allen has the rushing upside. Joe Burrow has his 3 trio of wide receivers. If I want to go with one more guy that is a must, I'm gonna have to go with Stephon Diggs bouncing back in this game, all right? We've had 3 poor performances from Stephon Diggs. I do not want to miss out on a 20-plus performance game from him, all right? So those are going to be the lock-in 3 that you're going to have in each and every one of your lineups. And we're going to have to get creative at the flex positions, all right? So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD. I'll be back with another video very soon, all right? Peace out, guys.